Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Before I get to the meat and potatoes of this video, I'm going to read you an article. Comes from Tech Times. It was tied to Bloomberg and Forbes and the New York Post. I'm just going to read it very quickly for you guys. Nearly 300,000 children were targeted by predators on Twitch. An independent investigation into the popular online streaming platform Twitch has revealed several disturbing reports of child predatory behavior. Approximately 280,000 children were targeted over the span of nearly 2 years. Mind you, this is dated in 2022. The independent investigation conducted by Bloomberg identified the mass targeting of children by child predators who would coerce the young streamers into doing lewd acts on stream. According to the results, approximately 2,000 users were discovered to be specifically following younger streamers during the 22-month period of research. Of those nearly 2,000 users, hundreds of them followed over 1,000 children streamers exclusively, which according to researchers indicated that many existed primarily to catalog, watch, and manipulate children. So now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this video. As we all know, what went down with Dr. Disrespect, I am not going to beat the child predator over the stick. Because that's what Dr. Disrespect is. I don't understand why this is hyperbole or why this is up for discussion. But the problem is when we go on child predator hunting escapades, the one thing that we miss out the most is that a lot of this can be prevented, especially on technical platforms. So, I know we're going to get into the discussion of freedom of information, freedom of privacy. Some of those things you lose the right to, pardon me, when you access tech platforms. So, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Kick, YouTube. As much as you'd like to believe that your data is private and safe on these platforms, they're not only accessible by the employees of these platforms, but also by third-party data brokers and all sorts of other elements, including your own governments. So when we get down to the issue with what has happened with Dr. Disrespect, I don't understand why there is not more outrage aimed at Twitch itself. Now, I know I'm going to get a pushback from this, that there are legal ramifications for what went down. We're dealing with the privacy of minors. Here's the problem with this. We have seen that tech platforms have no problems colluding to ban nefarious actors off of all their platforms. Alex Jones, Richard Spencer, Gavin McInnes, three of the most high-profile people that I can think of in the last 5 years, that social media platforms and tech platforms coercively worked together to isolate and segregate people from access to public media platforms, including banks and PayPal. They do this. They have no problem doing this for people that they view as being nefarious. I'm not even talking about politics. I'm just talking about people that, in general, these platforms view as nefarious actors. So why did they make an exception for a child predator? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there are things that are starting to come out about this story that actually give me the creeps and make me question whether or not this had to do with the change of guard at Twitch, where you had a lot of the old school employees leaving, a new crop of Amazon hired people, mostly from the tech sector and Silicon Valley, a lot of lawyers, a lot of people from rights groups and stuff, ACLU collaborations. This might have something to do with it. I don't know. But from what I've been hearing, 2022 wasn't when the incident was reported to Twitch. From what I'm hearing, and from what I'm reading, and from what I'm gathering from talking to people, the incident happened back in 2017. Dr. Disrespect remained on the Twitch platform for 3 years with access to the messaging system on Twitch called Whispers, access to a plethora of minor viewers on Twitch. Nothing was done about it until 2022. 3 years. Now, whether or not we're going to ever find out if there were other victims of this, we don't know. But we do know from reporting that is coming out that Discord, who dissolved their partnership with him, also found stuff on their platform. So now we have 2 individual platforms that knew about child predation, and their solution was to quietly dismiss this person. Not make a public spectacle about it, not inform other platforms about it, because we know for a fact he still had a Facebook presence, an Instagram presence, a Kick account, and he was on YouTube. He's still on YouTube, he's just demonetized. So I have to ask, are child predators less of a threat than right-wingers? Or people don't follow specific political ideologies? Are they not as bad as terrorists? I'm very confused right now as to exactly why nobody is focusing more on this, and why journalists who have an obligation to the truth are not leaning on Discord for more information. Because Discord basically acted in tandem with Twitch. So there had to have been either some transparency of information between the 2 platforms, or there was enough on Discord alone for Discord to act. And this is the problem I'm having with this. Because, I'm sorry, I have the same problem with people that don't want to report rapes. And I know this is going to be a controversial, you don't understand because you're a man, you don't understand the public shaming and pressuring. I'm worried about future victims. This is the Epstein principle. This is the Prince Andrew principle. This is the Harvey Weinstein principle. Every time a person remains silent, you double the amount of potential victims that somebody perpetrates their crime upon. We've seen this with child exploitation, immigration exploitation, rapes, sexual assaults, murder. Every time there is somebody who is quiet about victimization, the victimization continues. I don't have a single doubt in my mind that 3 or 4 years from now, if this doesn't stay in the zeitgeist of the media, that this is just going to be allowed to skate. That Guy Beam is going to be allowed to yet again skate away from this. Remember, he has made millions of dollars in endorsements from major football teams, major gaming peripheral companies. He is rolling in money, feeding off of the controversy literally around his ban for messaging minors. This isn't something that is about politics. It's not about anything else but that sole fact that a child predator was allowed to become rich off the back of the fact that he was banned for being a child predator. And the media is fixated just on him. Well, I'm sorry, but for anybody who actually follows what goes on in America, there has been a push to get digital platforms removed from being protected from being sued for the content that they post on their platforms. There was hearings in Washington in the beginning of this year with Facebook, Discord, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And repeatedly, it was shown that these platforms are very tacit about, and they do some reporting, but they don't do enough. And there is still a huge amount of child predation on these platforms. Huge. Twitch is no different. As I just read to you a few minutes ago, that was back in 2022. That was 22 months of research. So that goes back to the time when, Dr. Disrespect was on the platform. So who else on the platform was engaging in this? And not for nothing, Twitch likes to act like they protect people. They protect children. They protect marginalized communities. Well, I can tell you from firsthand accounts that they don't. And they claim they do. And they come up with small tools like, requiring age verification to use Whispers and having a verified account to access Twitch, not being able to technically stream on a Twitch if you're under the age of 18, yada, yada, yada. They're not doing enough. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe there's just one victim. I really honestly don't. And this is going to be a very unpopular thing that I'm going to say to you guys, and it's going to inflame a lot of people, and I'm sorry. You might be parasocial with these media influencers, but pedophiles don't act as lone wolves. They tend to work in pods. Ask anybody who has worked for the Federal Government Task Force on Child Predation. They tend to communicate and share their depravity with each other. 4chan and 4chan and Kiwi Farms had notable pedophile groups on them. Nambla still exists. So, I'm sorry, but there's a real potential that somebody in his orbit might also be complicit in some of this stuff. So, for the Rob Bresslers out there, and for the Wireds and the Kotakus and the CNNs and all the other media industry bigwigs and figureheads that want to be so vehement about getting their clicks about, Dr. Disrespect is a pedophile. Yeah, well, fine, but he was given tools to predate. And those platforms that gave him those tools kind of ran cover for him for a couple of years. 4 years. 4 years, on top of what is believed to be the 3 years before he was banned off of Twitch. So let's say for a decade, these platforms have not only been providing him the tools to engage in predation, they provided him legal cover, and he was allowed to profit off of the controversy around it. This is the problem with this country right now. You can literally get rich off of being a criminal. How far has this world sunk that this is where we're at? Thank you for watching. Like and follow, please.